Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. It is Season 9, Round 15. We are here in Texas for the start of the Round of 6. We are just 2 races away from knowing our Championship 5. We could even get our first Championship 5 driver confirmed tonight if one of the top 4 wins, or one of the top 6 wins a race either this week or, next week. So we're going to find out our 9th Championship 5 very, very soon indeed. And I was saying this to my co-commentator Jacko before, but we're in a very exciting situation this season because it looks to me like we've got a more exciting chase than we do at playoffs, which is good for basically watching the whole field because we've got 10 different cars really to be watching over these next 2 weeks. But yes, you can see we're in Texas, and I'm hoping, Jacko, you can see a stream.
I had a link straight away. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Owen. So yeah, thank goodness, as you say. You mentioned the chase. We'll start there this evening, shall we? Finally, it will taken us 9 seasons for us to have an exciting chase. So hopefully it does continue because the playoffs are looking very, let's say, set in stone unless we get the likes of Ben Shaw or Kieran turning up to spoil the ERT party, so to speak.
The thing is, in the playoffs, we did get Ben winning Monza when he needed to. So, you can have that happen again. But yes, as we were saying, it is basically going to be all about the chase over the next 2 weeks. Because you could say Corey Dalton, Casper Klein are basically definitely through. Arnaud de Grief and Khalifa Al-Khalifa maybe slightly less secure, but still pretty secure. And I say Kieran Spears and Ben Shaw need to do something magical to break into that top 4. But 10 points separates 11th place in the championship down to 14th. Obviously, 10th up to 1st is the playoffs. 11th down to 20th is the chase. And Ben Hart is currently leader of said chase. He's on 545 points, 4 points ahead of Solomon Lewis and Yuri Haslager after his 3rd place last week at the France Superspeedway. But behind Yuri is our race winner from last week, and that would be Jordan Lane. We've waited 9 seasons, we've waited 107 races for it. He was in the very first Championship 5, and ever since then we've been waiting for him to come back. Only 10 points off now, his first ever win in the championship, and a classic race for the ages that was last week.
Yep. Finally, 107 races. I don't know if it went, if it got heard on stream, but that is the longest amount of time, most amount of races from debut race to debut win. Yes. 107, unbelievable. The actual record for longest streak between race wins, longest winless streak, goes to Peter Knighton. It is about 137 now. So that's the next one we need to snap. But Jordan is the last driver inside the top 15 in all-time points who needed a race win.
I'm noticing already, by the way, OKK's missed his slot. He should have been the first one out onto the track. Instead, Michel Goris has gone on his slot onto the track.
Yes, so at least OKK's in the lobby. There's a slight delay because of Jordan basically asked for a delay earlier on this evening. Then you said there was a car crash in front of you, and then I had a poo. So we are out later than usual. So OKK has no excuse, but he has indeed missed his slot. I assume, Owen, yes you are. You are focusing on Michel Goris, who has actually had somewhat of a good run in the last handful of races. Nothing like amazing, but a good run for sure.
I do feel like we're not really seeing Michel Goris anywhere near his potential yet, because I remember it's definitely on last year's game. He was quite exciting. He looked like a driver. Me and Gareth were commenting him in the Kia series, and he looked pretty good there. And he came into the Cup series, but I think he got a couple of podiums, didn't he?
He was pole certainly on his some Cup
good
debut.
Yeah, he certainly had good results. I think Canada had a good race, but ever since, this season definitely, he's second bottom. Hence why he's the second driver on the qualifying list. He's 29 points off Ben Hart, so he would need to basically win the next 2 races to get through. So it's essentially over. Although it has to be said, I don't actually think we've ever seen a chase this close where all, apart from OKK maybe, all drivers are within 30 points. It actually is very close between them.
It
So
is very, very close. Yeah.
the pace isn't exactly nowhere. It's just that he just needs to find that extra little bit if he's going to be staying with us for season 10 on F124. But well, it does look like he's going to basically any good result will more just be for himself rather than for any run at a championship. As we run through our first qualifying lap, we'll stick it on board through the S section in what I believe is sunset conditions rather than sunrise. Not really sure it makes any difference, to be fair. But that will mean that the shadows and all the rest of the issues you have on this track and the sun getting in your face headed down the back straight, that's not going to matter here. You're not going to have to worry about that distraction. So I think the drivers will be very pleased to have these conditions, because I know the sun is still there, but if it was in the dry, sunny daytime conditions, I think it'd be a lot worse. So DRS zone down towards turn 12. This is probably the best place to gain time on this lap, at least I always find it, because people always can cut that inside curb. But a lot of people just don't bother. The same at turn 1 actually, because it just doesn't look like you can do it by getting invalid. But if people get that right, that could be the difference between pole and not tonight. And through towards turns 16, 17 and 18, even though, let's be honest, it's just one corner. But I suppose they want to beef up their numbers into the IndyCar corner, because we all know what happens here. Luckily the slots stay within track limits, and Michel got race tonight through the final corner at turn 20. A very deceptively difficult corner as he crosses the line, 1 minute 33.8. That last corner always does just feel too slow for its own good. You always feel you can take more speed through there than you actually can. So I wonder if that'll catch any of our drivers out tonight as well. OKK is on a lap, so I don't know if he's going to be allowed to keep this or not, but he is going to finish his lap, and he will be slower than Michel Goris by about a second, but he set a lap outside his window, but I mean, at this point he's lasted the championship anyway. Just give him it, innit?
Yeah, we'll just say we didn't see that. Set his lap after Michel. We'll let that one slide. And to answer your question, Owen, Michel's best finish in the Cup Series is a P5. Don't ask me where he got it though, but it was P5. So from one failure to another, Michel on to Peter Knighton in that final corner that you say is deceptively slow. And straight on the power, DRS open, short run to the line. That is a new pole position time. I was actually going to say Michel's lap did look fairly solid, and Pete's certainly in the region of that, as we will now move our attention to Mike Kelterborn. And here he is, purple car. Classic, isn't it, by now? We're so used to these colours on this man's car. Ooh. We haven't seen the red, white and yellow for some time now. Do you remember those days?
I know, I was going to say, back when he had sort of the old school Penske livery on his car, I still think that's where Mike is at his best with liveries, because really the purple and black is more Connor's thing, isn't it? So, yeah, I wouldn't be at all against MK Bourne going back to the Penske colours, but these still look very nice as well. As up to the line, it's going to be the slowest time of the day, a 1 minute 35.1. And now, last week's race winner, who's invalidated and gone crashing back down to earth, qualifying dead last.
What a shame. Well, it is a shame. I have nothing really to add to that, but all the glory come last week, didn't it? It was a very popular win, finally, for Jordan. He would have gone here a 1:34.0, so not the best lap anyway. Yeah, we'll move straight on to Waze, shall we? I'm sure Jordan will be looking to recover some positions later in the evening. He is very much in the chase, as you say, Mr. Wyatt, as we look at Waze Kubert down the back straight, one of the other DRS zones that we have here, as you run down into turn 12 and then take a heavy left.
And you can see, the traction wasn't really there on the exit, but he did trouble the inside curb and then didn't bother troubling the next one. It is a very, very difficult track. I mean, we had the Championship 5 here in Season 4, and we saw it was a difficult day. I mean, I know Arnaud had his incidents with Mike, I think, on the back straight, but in general, it just was a difficult track to get yourself round. And back on F1 2020, of course, we ran the short track here, and that was also its own challenge. Oh. We missed the short tracks, don't we, really?
The good old days.
But, yeah, difficult track this, as Waze goes fastest. Definitely more time in the lap, but for now it's getting him up the leaderboard This next lap though is
Jamie Griffiths spinning
yes,
around.
I saw that. That is on a lap, I believe. So that is not good news. So we'll not worry too much about his lap time. And Risky's invalidated as well. Now Risky, the second of the top 4 chase drivers to go and invalidate their lap.
That's big.
That is big. He's only 4 points, like I say, behind Ben Harrett. So Ben Harrett, at the moment, will be looking at those missed opportunities from Risky and Jordan quite positively.
Absolutely. Whilst we've got a couple of nothing laps here in the form of Sullivan and Jamie, a question for you, because I don't believe I ever got the answer from it. Remember when we did used to run the short tracks? Did any other league ever run them?
I can't recall ever racing in one that did. I think they were just sort of throwaway tracks, really, weren't they, for most people? No one really saw a use for them. That's probably why they got removed from the games in the end. They were they only in 2 games? 1, 2 games?
2 games. 20 and 21, I want to say.
I don't think they were in
Maybe
21.
19.
I think 19 and 20. I think even 20, even 19 or not. It might only have been 20, you know. Either way, they did not get much usage, did they? It was a real shame. I mean, we had some great ones here in Bahrain, the charity races at Silverstone.
Yeah.
You know, we had plenty of good uses for them. Japan was a bit rubbish, but you know, apart from that, you know, you got some good use out of them.
Japan?
I don't think anyone did Japan. It was rubbish. It was basically just the first sector, and then a hairpin takes you back to the start.
Yeah. Oh well, trust JACKOCAR to use the tracks that no one else uses. We made it successful. It's the other leagues that didn't see the potential, let's say. So that's why they got taken out of the games.
Yuri!
For goodness sake, man.
We followed the whole lap as well.
We were about to big him up as well, weren't we, Owen? Podium last week to, I don't know, no higher than 8th this week on the grid.
Well, you know what this needs now? This needs Ben Harrett, just for the fun of it. Let's go and invalidate your lap as well. Whack the top 4 chase drivers on the back 2 rows. That would make for some good entertainment. I'm sure someone's told him what's happening. Again, we say it every week, but these drivers are in parties with each other. There is communication going on, and they're not stupid. They'll have known what every other driver's doing basically on the track. So as long as Ben keeps this facing in the right direction, this qualifying session could be a massive advantage for him in the championship. He's a very quick driver. You know, he didn't make the playoffs, obviously, but that doesn't take anything away from his skill. We know he's a quick driver. And as he comes up to the line, it's not going to be fastest. It's going to be P2 behind West, but that doesn't really matter too much. It's a lap time set, and the other 3 drivers in contention with him can't say that.
Absolutely, but I don't know if you noticed his car in the final sector there, very, very sketchy. Rear end all over the place. So he could have some problems later on. Jamie Griffiths, I know he didn't set a lap, but his lap looked very similar in terms of how the car was behaving. So we may, I don't want to tempt fate here, but we may get a safety car later on. Just something in my bones says we will.
They do tend to happen, don't they?
They do, yeah.
I wonder what the last JACKOCAR race we had. That I'm sure you probably, maybe you don't have stuff for this. I was going to say you probably don't actually. It happens that rarely. I don't know if it even ever has happened where we've had a JACKOCAR race without some sort of safety car. I'm sure back on F1 2019. Oh no, we would have been the only league to have safety cars on back then, actually, because back then no one liked them. So we'll scrap that. Actually, maybe we did have them.
Did we went for a whole phase. This is Nick Egan's lap, by the way. But we went for a whole phase of where the safety car was broken.
Yeah.
But we still used it.
I think it was the last race of ILR ever.
P1.
The last night of ILR ever, as Nick indeed goes P1, that the safety cars got fixed. Because I remember watching as Leroy just behind Nick sets his fastest lap. I remember watching Ferry Ellis crashing into the back of someone. I think you were in the same race.
There's an old name for you.
Yeah, I saw him crash into the back of someone. It was under the 3rd or 4th safety car of the night, and it was amazing because the races on that game had been so boring it killed the whole league. So yeah.
Do you remember? As we assume we're watching Jake now.
We are indeed.
If we're taking a trip down memory lane, that ILR season, was it Commando somebody? What was his name? The retired British war veteran. He only had one leg or no legs, and he raced the I want to say Janetta's or some sort of GT car. Do you remember him?
I
Commando
do.
Vice, I want to say.
Yeah, the name definitely resonates with me. I do remember. I
Yeah.
did
And
see
then
the
there was an
issues.
Australian guy as well, wasn't there?
Oh, his name
Throwback.
was his name Matt something.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. He raced for Williams, I think. Zeba something along those lines.
You're on the right sort of lines there. Jake O'Sullivan P3.
Let's
We're gonna be kicking ourselves all night now.
I know. That's gonna really annoy me actually. That. Oh well.
Oh, was it like Zebadoodle?
Zebadoodle, yeah, something like that. I thought that was just a name that I would have just called him for the fun of it. Maybe that was just his name.
No, that was his name. Yeah. And his internet was awful.
Yeah, wonder what that is.
Other side of the world. Here's Gareth Hall then, OMY, as we come up to the line. He goes P8, so even with only half the drivers qualifying, it's still rubbish from Gareth.
Yeah.
He is notoriously shocking at qualifying, but makes it up
Yes,
in the
finally,
race.
we've got through all the fodder drivers, essentially. No offence to them, but sadly, the 4 drivers, Quinn, Leroy, Gareth, and Jake, they're just here to make up. Well, actually, Quinn's not even here, is he? But they're just here. They're just here to make up the numbers, unfortunately, because there's nothing they can really do to affect the race or the championship. And Nick, I think, is replacing Quinn tonight, isn't he? But
You're correct, yeah.
Here comes Ben Shaw, who's very much in this and very much needs to see a P1 above his name, there it is. Let's see if it stays up there. At the very least, he'll be starting in the top 6.
Well, Arnaud's invalidated, but I don't know if you saw when I changed the track from Monaco to Texas. Ben Shaw was one of the drivers who was very, very happy.
Really?
Yes.
Well, because we were saying before the stream about him used to be the quickest guy at Monaco, and we always expected a good result out of him. Maybe even he doesn't expect it out of himself anymore. So, yeah, I suppose that is good news for him not racing there tonight. He's P1 at the moment. He sure as hell needs it, and with Arnaud missing out, that means he's guaranteed a top 5 start. Let's see what Kieran can do.
100 races tonight for Arnaud and Kieran.
Yes, Kieran as well, of course, the winner of the 100th race back in Miami. That won him his only JACKOCAR Cup Series championship. Weird to think he's a champion, really, isn't it? Because he hasn't really kicked. He hasn't really kicked on, unfortunately, since then, has he? I suppose Jake's taken hold and Ben since, but well, he's 5th place in the playoffs, so he's clearly not doing too badly. And obviously, he'll be looking to whack this in the top 2 rows tonight and try and make something happen. Looks like a decent lap. It should go fastest. It does go fastest. So that is, and he's very happy with that indeed. Look at him celebrating across the line. That is good news.
It's another point closer as well, isn't it, to this man, Khalifa, when it comes to the playoffs. Khalifa, Arnaud, Casper, Corey all currently in, but Ben and Kieran trying to stop them from getting in, and that is Championship 5 night in 2 weeks' time when we head to Losail in Qatar under the lights to crown the Season 9 champion. And Owen Wyatt talking about this double slipstream for Khalifa.
But he's going to get blocked. Move! Tell you what, that was close. But well executed, I think.
No reason to not be pole now.
I know, he's sort of got no excuse. Arnaud making some use of himself tonight, at least. Must be said, a stunning looking car there. We didn't really get to see much of it, but it looks beautiful, that car tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yet again, though, it is another purple car, but we're not going to worry about it. It looks good. It looks better than Ben's because it has too much gold on it. It doesn't. Its colours clash. Ben, copy Arnaud. But anyway, through the final corner, Khalifa. We always call him Mr. Pole Position, but he's nowhere near it tonight. That'll be well done. P7.
Wow.
Maybe he did get distracted by the toe, because I'm sure he didn't get to take his ideal line into the final, into that turn. It might not have. Because I suppose, again, you want to be cutting the inside. Let's see what Corey does. Does he go and try and cut that inside? Not quite, but you can see my point, though. I'm not entirely sure Khalifa would have been able to get to that part of the track. As Corey sets purple middle sector. Not that means much. I know we say this again every week, but they really ought to fix this for F1 24. It's so annoying. Like it's mad how impossible qualifying actually is to watch. We basically just have to guess right up until they cross the line. Don't know how they don't see a problem with this.
We only run one car at a time as well, so it must be difficult for the other leagues
It's a
to
good,
do the
yeah.
normal, the boring way. Corey only P5.
I tell you what,
Interesting grid tonight so far.
Kieran's loving this, but he's not loving what I'm watching because Casper's getting the toe now, and let's see what Khalifa does this time. You see, that's a lot better moving out of the way, and a bit of a lock-up on the way in now.
Yeah. Not perfect.
Sector time, it's still about 2/10 up on Corey, but of course Corey's nearly half a second down on Kieran, so this needs to be a good last sector. And Kieran and Ben Shaw would be on the front row. How much more perfect could you want a grid to be? So, Casper, no offence, mate, but you got to see the vision here.
Kieran, Casper and Ben Shaw have all had 2 poles this season. It's worth 1 point if you stick it on the front. Can Casper get anywhere near it? Or is it Kieran Spears' day? Then to the line, Casper Klein! It's P3, so Kieran another point closer to the Championship 5.
And yeah, that's what I was saying. It's the that 2/10 he made on Corey, but he had to find number 3/10 in the last sector. Couldn't do it. It's speed 1-2. It's the 2 drivers at risk on the front row. I'm sure that probably hasn't happened too many times. If one of those 2 can win tonight, it dumps an ERT driver out of the Championship 5 potentially. Well, it would. It would. Yeah. It flat out would. So big motivation for the speed boys here tonight. As Kieran lines it on pole, Ben Shaw second, Casper, Leroy, great qualifying for him. Nick once again up there. Corey, Jake, West, Khalifa, Ben Harrett, not too good, but again his other rivals are right at the back. Pete Knighton, Michelle Grace, Gareth, OKK, MK Bourne, Jamie Griffiths, and then Yuri, Arnaud, I know you can't say his name, but that is Arnaud, Risky, and Jordan.
I can see his name.
Wow.
So, Kieran's pole, actually, like I say, 1 point closer. He's now 14 behind Khalifa. It's still quite the mountain, but every point counts, especially with one more race after tonight. Ben Shaw, 27 points off that drop zone. And then Khalifa, obviously, 14 clear of Kieran. Then you've got Arnaud, who is 17 clear. Casper, 22 clear. Corey, 25 clear. And Owen, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I am seeing what you're seeing.
You've just seen it.
Of course, that, as usual, will beg the question: what what setups are these lot running? Are they sacrificing, front wing angle to try and get better grip in the rain? Mucking about with tire pressures, ride height, stuff like that. There's a lot of things that the drivers will change. I mean, Khalifa obviously qualifying very low. In the speedway, that's sort of understandable because it is a wildcard track. Here, though, standard track, you don't expect that from Khalifa. Perhaps that's why it's happened. And then Kieran and Ben on the front row, I mean, it's not a massive surprise, but it's not what anyone would have predicted at the same time. So, yeah, that does give a bit of context, perhaps, to the qualifying positions.
Maybe. I do remember as well in the chat, I said Ben Shaw was happy with the track choice tonight, but so was Kieran, if not more so than Ben. So, and of course, Kieran has a bit of history around here, doesn't it? Whether it's raining or not, we all remember turn 16 on the inside.
They're on dries, Jacko.
Yes, they are. It's one of those races, is it?
Oh dear, that is.
Oh dear.
How do you manage this? I mean, how does Ben Shaw and Jamie Griffiths manage it on the mediums? Surely softs would have been the sensible choice because you're not going to be able to get heat into anything else. But I'm not entirely sure you're going to be able to get much heat into these. This must be one of those situations where the game has told them you can't choose wets. Otherwise, I'm sure they probably would have.
Sure.
But what this means is that we're going to see all these drivers possibly tiptoeing their way around until lap 3 and then all bombing it into the pits, or does someone risk a lap 1 pit stop, hope they can make 20 odd seconds quickly and then pit from the lead at the end of lap 3. I would suspect a lap 1 safety car might be on the cards here though, so expect a lot of pit stops possibly on lap 3. Either that or this rain's going to stop and soon.
Yeah, that's something I'd never actually considered. Would they stick it out in the wet? Of course, remember we had the All-Star race that time at Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Well, I chose the weather, and
Absolute
some of them got
chaos.
caught out and had to stick it out on the dry tyres on a wet track. I think it was. Mental.
It was full wet conditions, and there were a few out there still on the sauce they started the race on. It was obviously a lot better now we can pit under safety cars, I think, because it gives that extra strategy to us. But on that night, it was quite funny more than anything, I think.
Yeah,
It wouldn't really
wasn't a
work.
points race, was
It wouldn't really work in a points race, no.
No.
But,
But
yeah, I've seen no reactions, by the way, in the chat to what's going on here. So I assume, as in
they're all happy.
in the Twitter chat, well, it's less they're all happy, I would have thought. More, they're all scrambling to figure out what on earth they're going to do.
Yeah. And
This
they will
is,
have had this whole lap to prepare as well. But I will remind you, there's no jokers tonight, so it is a straight-up shootout. And your stages come at the end of lap 12 and lap 20.
Just want to have a wee look at
Owen
Arnold's
Wyatt.
livery, by the way, here.
Take us through it.
just while we have a quick chance, because it's odd not seeing him running his Belgian colours. I do wonder what the purple's there for. But
That's right. I won in the Belgian colours in Belgium on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
How long into stream did that take? 20 or so minutes?
Yeah, not too long. But in fairness, you did finish like 5th on track. I mean, just because everyone in front of you forgot the rules, you know, is it really a win at that point? As we see a spin from Jamie Griffiths, who's not enjoying those mediums on the formation lap already.
I didn't forget the rules. That's all that matters. P1. Championship 5. I've frauded my way there again. Let's see if one of the speed drivers can fraud their way in tonight, eh?
Well, let's see.
Kieran Spears trying to ruin the ERT party, as I said in qualifying earlier. Owen Wyatt, it's time for those famous little words.
Let's see if they can get up the hill here, because this is going to be tense, and I really want these lights to hurry up and come on. I don't know what's taking so long, but if this has to be restarted, I'm going to have some serious problems with a higher being of EA. Oh no. This is not my famous words. Oh, there we go. These would be the famous words. We've got blue flags everywhere, but we've also got 5 red lights. And when they go out, it will be boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. Let's see who survives in towards turn 1. It's an uphill braking zone. Might help them. But we see Casper diving down the middle. Who gets to slow down? Who wants to take the risk? Corey can take a risk. He's got up the inside. There's a few cars slipping and sliding, and we see Ben Shaw really getting swallowed up by the pack. Kieran's held on to second place, but Casper has held the lead of the race. And I thought I saw a few cars starting to slide about, but they're all facing the right direction. Apart from that's Gareth, and that is, I believe, is that OKK? It's OKK. And there's a lap 1 safety car. I think Leroy from 4th on the grid as well has a broken front wing. Again, that safety car was to be expected, really, wasn't it? Because there's just no way they were going to make it through. But what this means is that everyone can just chill. It's sad news for us, actually, because that would have been really exciting to watch them try and survive the whole lap. But I think we sort of knew this was going to happen. The thing is, right, you can use your 1 mandatory stop under the safety car at the end of lap 3, but there's a chance the safety car might be coming in on that lap, and so you wouldn't be able to do that. So, I don't know, actually, maybe we will get a proper restart with these tyres. And the safety car doesn't really tend to come out on the first lap after it's just come in, so I don't know, maybe we'll get some interesting tactics for this. Right, I'll put this out here though. Will we still see people pit for inters? Obviously there's guys with no front wings who'll pit for something.
Well, I would
if
say
they
those at the back
want to go for a strategy change and see if this rain's going to survive for a while, you might want to whack the inters on. That is a front wing
Jamie Griffiths
from...
has just been tagged from Jordan. He went straight to the back of him.
We saw on board with Leroy, saw that front wing piece flying shockingly high into the air. You would have thought it was a brake marker board from where he was, but no, it was definitely the front wing end plate. And he'll be in a pits possibly as well. But my point here is that, you know, just
Jamie's off.
It's all going on here. It's all
Turn
going
16.
on.
He steered right, but the car went left.
I know, but you're not, he's on the mediums. What's he expecting? Kieran's into the pits then, so he, I think, is basically going to do what I was going to suggest: put some intermediates on and survive the conditions. Hopefully, build some sort of a gap and see what the weather does. Because judging by what some of these drivers have been doing on this first lap, that's not a stupid move. Because you'll be able to get onto the back of the safety car. Yes, it's not a mandatory stop. But at this point, you want to be on good terms to the restart, because he's also probably done the maths and realised no one's going to be able to pit at the end of this safety car in. So you'll have a good chance to really make some ground up.
Very,
Jamie
very
Griffiths hasn't pitted. Jordan has pitted for mediums, so that doesn't really give us many answers on what the weather's going to do, does it? I don't. Oh, what's it going to do, Jacko? Are we going to be stuck in this limbo all day? I mean, do you know what's the situation here? Because the game clearly thinks that the dries are quicker, but the common sense man says the inters are quicker. The rain falling from the sky onto a soaked track would also suggest inters, but I've played this game for long enough. This does happen sometimes when the softs somehow are better.
It's JACKOCAR, so when does common sense ever come into it, would be my question back to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, good thought process. So I didn't even think about myself on pitting, making a non-mandatory now. If the inter tyre is quicker, as you say, they're going to have a fantastic opportunity to rifle their way through the field, and then you're going to have the top 13 and Jamie Griffiths and Jordan all struggling out there on dries, or maybe they're more comfortable on the dries. So it's as you say, this game 2
weeks left of it. It's fine. We're nearly home. We're nearly home.
No sense. So yeah, well, it's not 2 weeks left either, is it? Because we've got to come back here for the Super Speedway twice when F124 is out.
That's a good point.
So the future of the Super Speedway is being retained. FYI, breaking news.
I have some
more news as well later on tonight.
Oh, later on tonight.
But yeah, I'll keep that one quiet.
Forget the race. You're here for the news later. Right, is anyone else going to pit? Corey thinks about dummying, but it's not tricking anyone, although a lot of them are dummying, actually. A more indecision, perhaps. A lot of more indecision. I mean, to be fair, Yuri hasn't got his front wing end plate on the right-hand side. Maybe he should have pitted, but again, this lot are all looking for a lap 3 pit stop, aren't they? Or a lap 4 pit stop is going to be, because, oh god, this is going to be a total shambles. Have we seen a red flag yet? We've seen one, haven't we?
One, yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled for the second one, because it's going to happen at the pit entry.
Yeah, we've had 3 red flags all time, 2 last season, 1 this season.
I caused the first one, I think, didn't I? I think I did.
I can't remember.
I think it was Belgium, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was my fault. I sort of spun across the pack from like the lead. It's fun.
I'm sure there's a stat somewhere.
And then we got one in Monaco, and then I don't remember where this season's one was. Was it Spa?
It was early on in the season, so it may well have been Spa. Could have been Imola. I don't know. I remember
the 4th all time's going to be here.
You know what? I would put a 5 on that, because it has that kind of vibe to it.
Get Bet365 on this.
By the way, Owen, I don't know if you noticed or if I just didn't listen, but Leroy and OKK went from inters back to softs.
Yes.
So what does that tell you?
Well, it once again tells that I hadn't noticed that, actually. That for a start. But that also tells me that again, no one knows what to do. No one knows what to do. Or perhaps they're thinking, actually, do you know what? I'll cash these inters in. I'll take them back in a lap when I pit from a mandatory. I'm at the back anyway. I just don't know. I don't think there's a right choice here. I'm sure there's some pedantic person out there who will have the numbers and be like, well, actually, this is specifically what to do. But these are all 20 different drivers, all driving a situation that they've never really had before in a league race, I would have thought. At least not for a while. It's all going to come down to instinct. Yeah. You see the real drivers in these sort of situations. Your Germany 2019s, for instance, where you have everyone on the softs and stacking it into the same wall because it's still raining. It does happen to everyone, but in JACKOCAR, I think this is the first we've ever seen it like this so early in the race. It is in
the Cup Series,
and it could be a race-long situation. So, good luck, basically. But Casper's going to be the one to dictate the restart, and the thing is, again, it's going to be less of a put your foot down, more of a very slowly apply the throttle gently.
Yeah, as he comes on the final corner, as well, by the way.
And I tell you what, he actually has just sensitive. He hasn't sensed the final corner. He sort of cruised through it.
Oh,
but
spinner
just
at the back. It's Mike.
Quicker than anyone else has, and yeah, there's the first of many, I would have thought. Let's see. So Casper's got through turn 1. A lot of slipping and sliding once again. The thing is, right, I want to see what these S's are like. We got the safety covers deployed halfway through them, so because this is, I think, what might sway the decision for Inters. The fact that these S's must be an absolute nightmare to get through. But they're all making it. They're all making it.
Awful, does it?
I say that actually, but
saw that one coming.
The thing is, right, as a VSC comes down, now that might not last long enough to get to the pits. But, well, not that it really matters, actually, but that's mediums not working, then. That's what I'm getting from that. I mean, that's the third or fourth time he's spun in this race already. He spun on the formation, spun on the safety car, spun there, so that's 3 times, I think.
Oh, and he was awful in qualifying, you may recall as well.
And he spun there in qualifying, yeah, possibly. I must say, the way,
it's not even a setup thing. That could be a driver thing.
It could be a driver thing, but I'm trying to focus on the positives. I've never seen a helicopter shot this good on an F1 game through those S's. That's wonderful. As we go back green again. Sorry, I just had to mention it because I'm sure someone was going to. But look at that.
Sure, sideways.
Look at that from West. That must be the. Maybe he didn't send it from as far back as it felt, but it looked like a pretty good send on Nick there, up into 5th place and getting it slowed down very well on the. He's neutraled it into the corner. That's not going to help. Nick's going to come straight back past him, for God's sake. Or are they going to collide? Because that's very risky. Nick around the outside. That is.
Good move.
It's brave.
Good move in these conditions. Fantastic from Nick. Full time next season, of course. To the Cup Series.
No one's pitting. No one's pitting. Pete's gone off, I think. He's in the wall. Although he hasn't damaged anything, I don't think. At least he hasn't completely ruined his car. So that would be a safety car. But Yuri's in the pits to change his front wing more than anything. Because I don't think
Jake
they're
up
doing
the
it for the
inside of
tires.
Ben, turn 1. Sorry to interrupt, but that's an easy move on Ben Shaw.
Casper, by the
Jake
way,
now P3.
3.3 seconds in front. He's absolutely taken off. Terrific driving. The rain is looking a bit lighter, so I wonder if it is just going to flat out stop. It's also worth pointing out that Kieran's made no ground whatsoever really on the car in front of him, which is Michel Goris, but he is the highest running Inter driver at the moment. Saying that, for the first sector he's found nearly a second, so I don't know, maybe they are quicker. Oh, what do you do here?
We're just going to have to sit and watch, just like everybody at home. This it could be one of those races that Casper actually runs wide, leading the race. He recovers, and it has no effect on his time, but he went very wide.
So Kieran does have the pace. Yuri's put the mediums on, so look out for him having some trouble perhaps. But Kieran, he's got one. He's got Michel Goris. He's now looking at a double overtake potentially here on Cleef and Ben Harrett. Cleef, who's just got past Ben Harrett. But Kieran's been very conservative. You know he's not going as quick as he could be here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but I don't know what he's thinking looking on the outside there. You got to be opportunistic. Be opportunistic in these situations. You don't know how long this grip's going to last for Kieran. Stop going to the flipping outside. Oh, it's frustrating to watch.
Oh, that's almost in the back of Ben Harrett as well. For the second time in the same sector.
Oh.
Ben Harrett having moments now. That'll be scaring Kieran. You've got to get past him, Kieran. Come on, man. Do what Owen White says and make use of the grip on these tyres. Up into P9 he goes. Yeah, I saw that. Very nice.
Still side by
leads
side.
by 4.5 seconds as we go on to lap 6 here then.
Tell you what, Wes has had a pretty entertaining start to this race, but sadly he's starting to go backwards. Well, it depends on who you are, actually. Well, Garth's probably shaking his fist at him in the spectator mode. Really should really happen in the party, actually. I don't know if it's too late for us to do that if he's still a boy, but it's not often he's out on the first lap, is it, actually?
It's not. And we was only talking about Gareth DNFs before the race as well. That'll be his 9th all-time in 78 starts, if you're interested. Waze is all over the place, by the way. I'm on board with Khalifa here.
Oh my goodness!
Wow!
Once again, I'm on board with Kieran, just looking at the whole field, slowing his race down. If he just had a bit more conviction, right? Go for it. Pass him. You're fighting him directly in the championship. You got to fight him, Kieran. Oh, if I was a race engineer, I'd be losing it. The amount of time this is costing him right now, as we see Jake and Corey now fighting away for second place. By the looks of it, they're on technically the right tyre for track position, but they're definitely on the slower tyre in terms of the overall race. I mean, if you want to make your first mandatory stop, would it be for Inters? We'll work it all out at some point, I'm sure, but maybe they're waiting for another safety car, but they seem to be able to live with the conditions, as difficult as they are. I still think Kieran's living with them the best. It's just the issue is he keeps being unable to pass. as he has a look around the outside of Khalifa. That should be done on pure grip alone, as Khalifa nearly loses it. Khalifa, who's really starting to get into the habit of having accidents, and he could, if he keeps driving sort of on the edge like this, he could accidentally knock himself out here. So he's got to actually be quite careful, because you do feel a bit nervous watching him now, don't you? As we see 2 cars have gone off. Now, who are they? I think Michelle Goyes is actually coming into the pits, but MK Bourne's definitely off. OKK's also off, but no damage. Might just be flat out spins. So to get away with it.
Just pitted on to softs and mediums, though, and Ben Harrett onto his second set of softs, in fact. Oh, I don't know. But Casper's loving it out front on the dry tyres, isn't he?
Bit of clear air might be helping him.
Yeah. But he doesn't look like he's struggling. Speaking of someone who is no longer struggling, Ben Shaw all over the back of Corey Dalton for P3. No DRS, of course, at this stage of the race. Better line from Ben.
No, there is DRS. It was dry conditions. They're all on dry tyres, aren't they? The game thinks it's dry.
Of course they are.
So it is DRS conditions. That is also
and here
perhaps
goes Ben
a clue.
Shaw then. Big overtake.
That is perhaps another clue to what the right tyre is. But then I'm watching Kieran going much quicker than everyone else on inters, so I don't know. It's odd, but yeah, I do agree though. Casper's certainly the Finnish man in him is coming out, really, isn't it? And yeah,
that'll be why.
The typical Finnish conditions, really. This, isn't it? So
yeah.
And in his Ferrari colours, doing the old Kimi Räikkönen. I'm sure he'll claim that anyway.
Oh,
but,
here comes Corey again. I was just going to say, Owen, Casper
after
has
contact. That's round. That's Nick. Does anyone hit him? Oh, he's right in the middle of the track. That was Kieran once again going around the outside of another car. And that's going to be it. Risky's hit him. That was going to happen. That was going to happen.
The chase.
Every day of the week that was. And I think Kieran's gone straight for the pits. He has. So, first mandatory stop for him. And for Khalifa. And for Wace. And Jordan continues. I would have thought they'd all try and pit for their first mandatories if they haven't already. What tyres? Kieran is on more inters. So that's his decision.
Wow.
Wace onto mediums, Khalifa onto mediums. Well, Kieran has been able to have the pace, though, hasn't he, on these? So, he'll have a chance to probably heat them up under the safety car, of course. So, I don't know, maybe not the worst choice in the world.
Jordan's
and there's another 2 cars.
He's hit the safety car.
I think he has hit the safety car, yeah. Which, another indication of the conditions. Surely. It's just, they're that impossible. This is what I'm saying. There might be no right decision. I think Kieran's going. It's a safer bet to be on intermediates at this stage of the game. That's what this whole scenario is telling me. Everyone on these mediums behind him, I'm not sure they are quite ready for what's about to happen to them on the restart.
I'm not sure either. I'll take this opportunity to speak about a couple of things. The first one, let's celebrate Casper hitting 250 laps led in the Cup Series. The second one, let's have a bit of commiseration for Mr. Sullivan Lewis. Big DNF in this chase, by the way. Advantage Ben Harrett and also Jordan now out, so you're left with the likes of Yuri and the other guy whose name escapes me. Owen Wyatt, who is it?
What do you mean? For what?
In the chase.
So
Jamie Griffiths, but he's out as well, so it's very much Ben Harrett versus Yuri Haselargo. 4 points in it when it comes to the chase. Everyone else in contention is out.
Yeah, so working out who's done their mandatories, Casper's doing his now. I assume the whole top 5 will do theirs, and they will be the last to do so. Yeah, they would be. I think Pete's is the only one not done under safety car. Don't know if you can confirm that, but that could pose an advantage later on, especially seeing he's on the inters, which may or may not be the faster tyre at the minute. Everyone in the pits at the minute is on mediums. Kieran, I wonder if he's going to jump any of these guys as he bombs it down the main straight. I think he will. He'll be up to 4th place, I think.
There you go.
And he'll get it slowed down. He's got the grip. So I would have thought on the restart, if Kieran can get himself into the lead, second stage is quite late though, isn't it? It's lap 20, is it?
Yep, 12 and 20.
So he will. It had to go a long way on these tires, but I mean, if clearly he thinks the rain's going to last long enough for that to be possible, though. And of course, in this situation where if anyone who's been on intermediate tires doesn't have to worry about what dry compounds they run. Again, not entirely sure how relevant that'll be, but it is just worth pointing out. Kieran can go back to the softs he started the race on, for instance, for another stint, and it would be okay because he's run inters. If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I'm slightly distracted because I was going to invite young Gareth to the party.
Surely it doesn't take that long.
I'm literally just doing it as we speak. What's his name? Gareth. Oh, for goodness sake. Do excuse me.
Shall I do it?
No. I'm here now.
Who's older, you or Gareth? I never asked.
Gareth by many
By a long
year.
way? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, good handful. Yeah. At least half a decade.
Have they still got grey hairs? Obviously, I wasn't able to go up to visit you at the weekend.
Or down, you should say.
Or down.
He has a handful of greys. But that'll be the stress caused from his wife not league racing.
Ah.
Please don't clip that.
Right.
She'll hit me.
Well, we could have just said that it came from his first lap retirement, which must be a very rare occurrence. He's only had 9 DNFs overall. I mean, that
8.
might be or 8. That might be the first he's ever had on the first lap. I don't know. I'm sure he probably knows.
Again, someone somewhere will have a stat. It's not me, but someone definitely will. So, Owen, we're left with 15 drivers, 1/3 of the way through this race. So we should have enough come the final checkered flag. It's a question of how many are going to finish, though, and this restart is going to be tasty. Kieran on the inters versus everybody else on new mediums around him.
Okay,
as OKK makes another pit stop. Let's see what tyres.
And Yuri's in as well. New front wing for OKK, so he's been in the wall. That would explain his issue. Is this Yuri abandoning inters, or is he going for more? He's going for more. So he clearly thinks inters are still best. His issue is, though, is he going to be able to catch up to that safety car, because it will go in this lap. Because he would be one of the drivers best placed to take some serious advantage. This could be a Championship 5 making strategy, this.
Yeah.
Risky's out. Ben Harrett's only 11th, possibly on the wrong tyre at the moment. This is a big move.
I love the split decision they're all facing.
Look at how much more grip he has compared to OKK. It's evident, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the issue is, though, OKK might be the reason he doesn't catch up. Oh, has he cut a corner there?
They'll get there.
Yeah, don't cut any corners. OKK weaving. That's probably why he hit the wall in the first place.
Oh, yeah. Definitely struggling. So maybe Kieran is going to find himself back in the lead. Of course, the last time he was in the lead was when we were on the grid. Casper had an excellent start. And he's led ever since, all 10 laps.
Where is Old Man Gareth?
I have invited. Maybe he's helping out in speed. 2 young boys in that, going for the Championship 5. Gareth able to pass on his expertise to the younger generation as a safety car stays out another lap because of Yuri and OKK. So we got a bit more time to rest.
They're still playing chicken with each other at the pit entry, and Yuri's in again. Well, I don't know what that's about. Just make your mind up. It's not IndyCar. Scrubbing the tyres doesn't really do much for you. Is that more inters? No, it's mediums this time.
Mediums? No, it's not.
He spends the whole lap going quicker than OKK, mind you. I suppose most people could say they've been doing that, but it's still raining. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right call. He's just watched OKK slipping and sliding like He's at a water park, and he says, "Do you know what? I fancy what he has."
I think he should have stuck.
I think he should have taken. I think he should have stuck. I mean, you got to be in it to win it. I get that, but I think if you're in the inters, you're certainly going to have much more grip, or at least a lot more confidence. I think the likes of Pete Knighton and NK Bourne could be on for some serious results if they keep their noses clean.
Say less.
And especially because, well, I was going to say Pete hadn't done his mandatory under safety car. He does. They all have now, I believe. Even NK Bourne. I think.
We'll worry
Or
about
maybe
that
not,
post-race.
Actually, I just don't know.
Oh, Yori's going to go for a spin at the exit turn 11.
This is some serious mistake you've made here, man. This is... Oh, it's frustrating. It's really disappointing to watch. But again, the rain could stop in a minute. I don't know. I just don't know.
Finally. And of course there's a stage point at the end of the next lap, so lap 12 as we go on to 13. Casper has led every lap so far. Will he go and get what would be his, let's get the stat right, his 5th stage this season?
I don't know. It depends how good Kieran feels on this restart, doesn't it?
Yeah, Casper was very good on the last restart as well, and the race start. So he's got something sorted out. Maybe some Evil Dragon 99 hacks going on inside that car.
No, it's always something you got to think about, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Again, I'd be very surprised if it turned out that Evil Dragon was Finnish.
It's true.
It's a lot easier to believe. It's a lot easier to believe that Casper's capable of this sort of performance. So, as he prepares his restart, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he just sort of rolled through the last corner effortlessly last time, and it worked for him. And he's doing that again, and you can see he just has so much more confidence as they get underway once more. But look at that, Kieran is sticking to the back of Jake, and he's finally going up the inside. My goodness me, he's made a normal overtake. And look at Arnaud, opportunistic as anything. Brilliant stuff to get himself past Jake. Does he fancy a look on Kieran? I don't think it makes any sense to do that. And indeed he backed out of it. So Kieran's made one place already. Now he wants to get after his teammate Ben Shaw. Obviously, one of these two win the race, they are straight through. So these speed drivers know what's on the line. It could be a massive day of opportunity, especially if you're on the right tyre. We'll keep saying it all the way until the end. It has to be said, the track's looking a hell of a lot drier now. So there might not be long left. I don't know if Kieran's going to be able to get to lap 20 at this rate. Because I think the second that rain stops, it'll be definitely a dry track. In the last couple of laps, the track has certainly cleared up.
And Ben Shaw this time has stayed with Casper.
And here goes Arnaud.
The first time Casper's had any sort of challenge. Yeah, Arnaud indeed.
Well, there you go then.
Kieran.
That could be it. Genuinely. Because look at it. It's not even the space of... It's a space of one lap. It's all turned around. So maybe Yuri's choice to pit was the right one. And Kieran must be sitting there feeling a bit helpless. He must be sat there thinking, if only that safety car had gone in one lap earlier, I might have been able to make some really serious ground. Now, he's looking in the pit lane.
I want to say this before it changes. The top 6 are the 6 in the playoffs, and only one of those is on the intermediates, and pitting is exactly what Kieran does do.
And Jake, of course, in 7th place in the playoffs. We're going to ignore him.
Also, I was wrong, because Jake's out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is he out? It's not right.
Crashed. Don't crash. Don't crash out of the race you're fastest in. Unfortunately,
Ben Shaw. Ben Shaw.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm not watching your stream.
I know. Listen, I was watching other things, but I could see the gap. It's not going to happen in the S section. An airplane crash might, but Ben Shaw can't afford to have an airplane crash.
Ben Shaw famously passed Jamie Wright there one time on the short track in the S section.
Yes, I remember that move well. It was very exciting.
Casper, by the way, stage win last time by.
Is he
another point for him?
He must have been set up for the wet conditions, because he's not. By this time on the last restart, he was already 3.5 seconds clear at the front. Now he's got less ERS than Ben Shaw, and Ben Shaw is absolutely flying. And look at Corey thinking about it there on Jake, but nothing happening at the moment. He's just holding his horses. He's got 4 race wins this season. He is 26 points clear at the top. Basically, nothing's going to keep him out of this Championship 5. So, just keep a calm and composed. Saying that, Casper is in front of him and he will overtake him on points. And Arnoud's also in front of him and might overtake him on points. So ignore that, actually, completely. Because at this rate, Ben might well win this race, and who knows what Kieran's going to do next week. Yellow flag, I'm going to guess that's probably okay, and indeed it is.
Here come the fastest laps.
140s though, that's very slow.
It is
Still.
very slow. Look at this top 3. Fantastic stuff. JACKOCAR delivering, as always, lap 14. We're halfway through Owen Wyatt as we head down to the S's. Casper, Ben Short, Arnoud, Jake O'Sullivan, Corey Dalton, Khalifa El Khalifa.
ERT.
What a batch of drivers.
ERT sandwiching the speed driver here, and it's absolutely imperative here now that Ben Shaw makes his move on this lap, because Arnoud will make the move on this lap if he doesn't. He knows what he needs to do here. It's for the sake of his team, it's for the sake of his championship. The last thing any of these ER2 drivers want is to let Ben Shaw in with a chance, and that wasn't even a challenge, was it? Straight through like it was nothing. That there is going to really concern these ERT drivers, because that's a driver that's going to pull 5-10 seconds at that current pace, especially because Casper's gone straight on at the turn 12. He's lost a good second almost there just from that lockup alone. That's I genuinely, that's going to be Ben shot off, I think.
Yep. Statement man is back. Do you remember those days?
I know, it's about time. Saying that, he is our reigning champion, isn't it? It's only been it's only sort of been a few races off, really, hasn't it, for his pace? But he's certainly finding it at the right time in the season once again. Now that might be in the wall. I wonder who that is. Safety car for Michel Garis. So he'll get himself turned around. Obviously, no point. You're not going to see many pit stops in this safety car, I don't think, because we're not at lap 20 yet. So it's going to be just a standard affair for a safety car. It'll help Kieran out a little bit. Kieran is actually going to pit. He'll probably go and put some softs on, I would have thought. Just do something to help himself catch up.
Yeah. He'll do soft. We have 1 safety car period remaining as well. So as our 3rd safety car, we've had 1 VSC as well.
Indeed. Only halfway through this race.
Love it. The playoffs always come alive, though, don't they? It doesn't matter how good or bad the regular season is. The playoffs in JACKOCAR are just exceptional.
It does always bring up surprises as well. I don't think anyone would have thought this sort of a race up. It's this sort of race, just so that everyone's absolutely aware, you cannot set a race like this up on Grand Prix mode or anything. You can't set the game to be raining but your own dries, and the dries are fast enough to cope. You can't do that. There's no way of practicing that situation. So it's the same as when you get monsoon conditions on the game. It's so rare, but you can't set it. So you do have those extreme weather conditions sometimes that the game does just throw at you. And, well, 15 of the drivers have handled them quite well. 14.
Yeah, absolutely.
13.
To now.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, Michelle Grace have actually been in the wall more than they've been not, but they're still in the race. Still getting points.
Absolutely. Kieran, by the way, I think, obviously he's already changed on to softs. Soft to the end. He can be very, very fast.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it makes sense to do that. He's got mediums out of the way, even though he didn't really need to worry about it. But he knew that he was only on those mediums because it wasn't wet enough for long enough for him to be able to risk softs. But now, of course, he knows he can do that. So that'll do him just fine, I think.
We know he's got pace as well, so providing he can get through the field, he's still a factor. I mean, we've had half a race, and it was a bloody brilliant half as well, so anything can happen.
Oh, look, he's the pole sitter. He's the fastest man on this track in over one lap. He is as fastest on those softs against other guys on softs. You know, we can say about the setups for the rain, perhaps that's where Casper was stronger, but now we're very much back in the quality conditions. And so you'd expect Ben Shaw to disappear. You'd expect Kieran to be near the front at the end. And I think at this point, you really need to start asking, is Khalifa ever going to start showing his pace? Corey's thereabouts, but Khalifa, it just feels like he's not been at the races today. Once for the third week in a row, third race in a row, he's just not really showed up.
Khalifa is very much the favourite to win in Qatar, but he's got to get to the Championship 5 first. And at the moment, he sits
at the minute he's going to be
in the playoffs.
Fifth. He'll be fifth,
which demotes him to fifth, which puts him in the danger zone to a point where he won't have to win, but he's going to have to overcome 3 ERT teammates and Kieran to try and get into a Championship 5, and nobody will want to give that up. A chance at a championship.
What this race has done, it's going to cause infighting at ERT, which
brilliant.
It's great for us to watch, but I've seen how upset. I've seen how upset poor Dex gets when things start going a bit tipsy for the ERT drivers. I'm sure he'll be watching this maybe with his eyes covered and just hoping that the right result happens.
This is JACKOCAR though, and I said this earlier in the season and seasons gone by. You can't. There's no friends in the final race, or certainly the races leading up to the final race.
I'm sure that works in favour.
And it comes back every time.
I'm telling you, Dex is going to make sure these lot are friends. We know what Dex is like.
I do, but I know you can say they can be friends, but one of those friends is, if it finishes like this, is not going to make the Championship 5.
Very true, very true. So they need
So they're going to have to fight on track, aren't they? It's not going to be, oh no, you come on through, because it won't be like that.
They're 2, 3, 5, 6. They need to mobilise here and do something about Ben Shaw, and that would sort the problem out quite nicely. As it's time for Ben Shaw to do a restart. He's seen how it's done, and he's just going to... Well, he hasn't copied what Casper does.
Caught him out. Well done. Good restart. And here comes Jake.
I was going to say, yeah, Arnaud as well, though. It could be 3 wide, this, if they're brave. And Jake's... Oh, look at that! Corey's gone straight on. Hit both his teammates there. Arnaud and Casper, there's no way that's his fault, surely. That car, it was never going to start to slow down. I'd be almost certain... Is that safety car coming straight back out, by the way? It is. I know it doesn't say on screen, but you can see it on the map. That safety car's come straight back out. So that is our last safety car. But what's happened there? I'm almost certain Corey's had some sort of a throttle sticking or a brake not engaging, because that's happened to him before, hasn't it? Austria, yeah, that has happened to him before. So, Corey, what a disaster. Now, obviously, Casper's at the back now, we're on board with him, but he got a pretty big whack. I'd be amazed on simulation damage if there's no floor damage or diffuser damage or something that's ruining his race, apart from the fact that he's already last. Same for Arnaud. If Arnaud's got away with that unscathed as well, that's a miracle. Khalifa, I think, was behind it, so he would be able to avoid. Jake, I hope he's also okay with no damage.
Jake is fine, he was on the inside. Arnaud, the game glitched. Corey actually hit Arnaud, but it caused no damage, and he just went straight on, Corey. Literally straight on into the back of Casper, so I think Arnaud's gotten away with it. Maybe some side pod damage, but Casper is the one who's dominated this race for the first 13 laps. And, well, we were talking about ERT, and it's all imploded by the looks of it. Kieran is up to P11, so he's not threatening just yet, but don't forget, a good handful of points for Kieran. Corey's out, Khalifa not doing well. Arnaud could have some kind of problem. It's thrown it on its head, and we've still got 1 week to go before the Championship 5, Owen.
Corey there confirms it is his wheel that died.
Wow.
I mean, like I say, there was no way that was his fault. We knew that. So that's just terrible luck, isn't it? Worth noting that in 7th and 8th places we find Ben Harrett and Yuri Hasselager. They're glued to each other. And obviously with the other contenders of the chase out of it at the moment, they're slowly getting higher and higher up these points. And this could be quite fun to watch later in the race. So keep your eye on this. This safety car is probably going to come in at the end of the next lap, which would mean we have, what, 2 laps of racing and then all looking at
Rain.
the pits.
Rain.
No.
No?
No.
Is that my eyes or is it raining?
It's your eyes, mate. It's your eyes.
Okay. Carry on.
So I
definitely saw rain.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
But I assume it might come in this lap, in fairness, but we'll see. If it doesn't come in this lap, it'll definitely come in the next lap, the safety car. And if it comes in on lap 19, that means you've got lap 20 and lap 21. I would have thought lap 21, people are going to start pitting. And so
21
we'll
for softs to the end.
Yeah, softs to the end. So I would expect to see quite a lot of action when this restarts, and hopefully no more wheel failures, because that has taken a bit of the sting out of this race, I would have thought. But
it's fascinating for the playoffs, though.
Well, this is it. It makes a good storyline for the playoffs when we have the top 2 in the top 3 in the championship all coming together at turn 1.
Brilliant.
But it does mean that Ben Shaw, basically, it's his race to lose now. I think it was already looking that way, but now it's definitely that way. Jake's got nothing to win here, or he's got nothing to lose as well. He might just get a win for his pride, but we'll see what he does. He could be an interesting factor in this as the odd one out in the pack. Wes as well has been there all day.
He's still there, isn't
he? He's going to continue to be there, I would have thought. He could also cause some issues if he fancies it. Or even if he doesn't fancy it, he might still do it. Leroy, it's just such a shame that Leroy got locked out so early, because he has seemingly had really good, decent pace. It feels odd that he got knocked out at such an early phase of the playoffs, but yeah, I suppose he'll have been wishing he was in the chase. He'd be absolutely walking it, I would have thought. But oh well, he might still have something to say about helping his brother out. Of course, the Hasselagers sandwiching Ben Harrett. I'm sure that'll end well.
4 points between those. And going back to the Ben versus Jake, both of them sit on 12 wins all time, for those that are interested. The record still is 19, held by Jamie Wright. And Khalifa is after him. They're all chasing Khalifa and Jamie.
Right, and so let's see. I would have thought the safety car will be in on this lap, like I say, because the whole field is together. Like I said, the game does just do 3-lap long safety cars, but realistically it was more than ready at the end of the last lap. But oh well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just excited. I don't even know what to say. I just want to see this restart now. Anything could happen here. I feel like anything could happen. Anything will happen. We're going to have 9 laps of flat-out action now. Unless this game changes its mind and suddenly starts throwing more safety cars at us, I'm pretty sure that's us done. So say bye-bye safety car. We've seen more than enough of you today. It might well be on to winning the most laps led by the end of this thing.
Do you want an update on that?
Shall we? Because I imagine Ben Shaw has a chance now at catching it.
13 for Casper and 6 for Ben Shaw, including this lap he's on now, thus far.
Of course, if he wins the race, actually, I suppose the laps led doesn't really matter at all for Ben Shaw. But
Doesn't
Jake,
at all, no.
Is that legal? I don't think that's legal, is it?
What's he done?
Look, he's 2 seconds behind. That's not legal. That's
wow. Okay.
That's very unsportsmanlike.
Well, there's your newest member of Team Speed then, as Ben Shaw gets a clean getaway up into turn 1 all by himself.
How slow is he going to go here? Is he going to keep doing it? Like, what does he stand to gain by doing that? Is Ben Shaw slowing down? I think Ben Shaw's possibly slowing down to let them catch up, because I think even he's a bit confused as to what's gone on there.
If he has, then it will save Jake from any sort of penalty should it be reported. And,
Of course,
it's gone from 2 seconds to 1 second. Yellow
Yeah.
flags, it means nothing. OKK
Oh, it's Casper
and
again.
Michelle out of this race.
Yeah, Casper. He does make 2 places actually with that, but
Oh, wow.
but that we're down to 12 now in this race. My goodness me! But as we say, we're out of safety cars. Casper, he's just stuck at the back now. There's nothing he can do unless he gets his pace up. And Leroy Hasselager gets himself up alongside and past Wes. And look at the speed drivers here. We've got Kieran and Pete nearly coming to blows. Kieran up into 8th place. He spies an opportunity, seeing 3 ERT drivers wiping each other out at turn 1. And we know he's the fastest man over 1 lap. He wants to be the fastest man over the next 8 laps. And look at that. Is that Yuri fancying a move? It is indeed. And he's going to have a... Well, that's just miles off for MK Born. Didn't even bother to take the corner there.
No pit stops this lap. Next lap, they can make their second mandatory stops. As Ben Shaw wins stage 2, fastest lap, Jake O'Sullivan. And we have Kieran on the inside of Ben Harrett on the run up to turn 1. Will he get it done? He certainly looks like he will. Nice and easy.
Ben Harrett
Pete has hit Ben Harrett. And that puts Yuri a lot closer to the action. Of course, he's 4 points behind, don't forget, when it comes to the chase.
He might hit him again. He's thinking about it. He doesn't hit him. But I think... that's going to help Yuri if Pete's aware of what's going on here. Let's not have another accident. We can't bail you out with any more safety cars. These have been way too messy today. And
it's odd that we've only got 12 running, isn't it?
Look at
Normally
Kieran
not this bad.
Diving up the inside, and he's got that a bit wrong. He's been spared a bit there by the fact that West couldn't turn into the corner, but that was Kieran fully sideways all the way in there. He's possibly pushing too hard, but you can understand it. He's bombing it for the pits on this lap, as is everyone else, I would have thought. Look at West, he thinks about it again up his inside. Contact between Ben Harrett and Pete again. They don't like each other, do they? They're not having a pleasant time with this. This is very much I'm going to ruin your race so that Yuri can come through. And there's nothing you can do about it because I'm going to keep hitting you from Pete there.
Ben Harrett needs to do the opposite of Pete when it comes to pit stops.
Let's see what happens in the pits then. Looks like Kieran's actually going to continue. I suppose he's got newest tyres on.
Ben Harrett does exactly what I thought he would do. Wow, look at MK Bourne around the outside of Yuri on the entry of the pit lane. Brilliant
look
stuff.
Look at that, he's gone straight back past him. That was brilliant.
Oh, fantastic.
Do you know what's happened there? Ben Harrett's broken too early. MK Bourne's bashed into the back of him, and Yuri's just blown past him. Look, he broke his front wing in the process there to MK Bourne, but we appreciate the effort. No,
he won't mind.
We see only 4 drivers actually, didn't pit there. So it's Arnaud leading. I promise that's him. I know you can't see his name on the stream, but it is him. Kieran, we know that's him. And I know as well he'll have the pace to maybe do one quick lap here while the rest are warming their tyres up.
Oh, penalty, Yuri.
Yes, Yuri, who's still on the back of Ben Harrett. But, it does look good for Ben Harrett, that penalty. He'll appreciate that after the lap he's just had. But yes, I think if Kieran does do a decent lap here, then I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be okay. It should work for him. I'm trying to... Oh, there it is. I was wondering where the lap time data was. There it is. I forgot to turn it on. So, where did Ben Shaw come out? He's come out 8/10 ahead of Jake. Khalifa again just doesn't seem to have any pace at the moment. He's just driving his race at the moment. He'll be finishing 3rd if nothing dramatic happens. Kieran looks like he's going to stay again. I hope he's not waiting for a safety car because there isn't one coming. And I hope he doesn't think he's done his pit stops mandatory and all the rest of it. I hope he hasn't sort of defaulted and says, well, lap 14, that's the halfway point, I'm good.
Arnold, by the way, taking a very important point for leading a lap. It doesn't sound like a lot, but with the way these ERT boys are spread out and with Corey out the race, that's a huge point.
To be fair, if Kieran is in the middle of making a mistake, if he makes this mistake for one more lap and doesn't pit, then that'll give Casper the most laps led, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll be inadvertently disadvantaging your teammate there, while also accidentally ruining your own race, because I really do think Kieran's going to be in the pits now. I
Also,
really
look at the
hope he's
gap
not
between
doing
Ben
what I
and
think he's
Casper.
doing. What about it?
They're very close on track.
That's because
Casper
Casper's
will
probably
know.
got half a car.
And also, he will know Ben's in the box seat to win this race.
That's very true, actually. That is going to help. Well, it's going to help Jake, although Jake's just a spoiler, really, nothing else. He's just a spoiler.
Yeah.
But he's an ERT spoiler.
Go
as
on,
is
Ben, down the
Well,
inside. Turn 13.
that hasn't worked at
Jake's
all.
going to follow him through.
I'm pretty sure Casper did try to slow him up there, but he just sort of didn't.
Look at him get out of the way for ELT.
Yeah. He's not really doing a very good job of that either, is he?
Kieran stays out.
Yeah, I really hope Kieran's not about to do what I think he's about to do. And just finish the race. Because he's going to have a very unhappy moment of clarity in a moment. Well, do you know what? I'm talking about Khalifa's pace. He's just at the fastest lap. Granted, Ben Shaw and Jake were blocked, but still, if you've got any pace, Khalifa, use it. You got 5 laps. Give ERT something to be happy about, because they need badly for Ben Shaw not to win this thing.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a clutch win this week.
Yeah, whatever.
Why can't you just be happy for me, Owen? I was happy when you won your one race in Singapore.
I know, but you haven't won the championship yet. We got to. It's a bit like
Did
being.
you win the championship?
Well,
No,
I wasn't
it was
allowed
race 1
to.
of season 8.
I wasn't allowed to. If I could have, I would have, and then you wouldn't have had to deal with Ben Shaw all season. But no. Someone was too fast.
Well, you were.
Well, yeah, there you go.
You can't be out on hards in Suzuka and pulling gaps to drivers on softs. Come on now.
Yeah, but Suzuka's my best track. You could have got me on.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
know,
still ridiculous.
Spain, and I would have been nowhere.
I like Spain. Good track.
I can't stand
Ben
it.
Harrott, by the way, right behind Yuri Hazelaga.
Behind him.
Of course,
When
it
did that
means
happen?
no. Yuri's going to go for a half spin, and it means nothing because of that 3-second penalty. But Ben
He's
Harrott
blocking
won't like
the
the fact
hell
that
out of him. Look at him.
Pete Knighton is right behind him.
Oh goodness.
Kieran Pitts.
Kieran has pitted. Maybe he's been told that that fastest lap or the most laps led point is going. No, that makes no sense. He's just giving that back to. Genuinely, that's made absolutely no sense, has it? That strategy, unless he literally breaks a lap record for the next 4 laps, he's going to come out in 6th place. I mean, he's only really going to finish 5th from there. Was he? You could argue he was only going to finish there anyway, but I mean, Jake's got a penalty. If he can close the gap up enough, a 4th place could still be in the cards. I suppose it wouldn't be a total disaster.
Casper, by the way, has won most led laps. Even if Ben Shaw leads them all from here, he'll be 1 shy of the total required.
This is it. So basically, Kieran set out just enough to ruin his teammates' his teammates' most laps led. So why?
Those ELT boys are coming. So's Jake. Down into turn 12. Doesn't do it.
So
Champion
Arnold
respects a champion there. He knows what Ben's fighting for.
Arnold there easily passing Khalifa, who's out of ERS and basically out of the running, unless he loads a new setup on in the next sort of 2 minutes that fixes his issues with pace. Arnold, again, someone from ERT has to try and do something. In my heart of hearts, I just don't think Jake fancies a move on Ben. I just don't think he does.
Off track.
I think he would much rather.
Ben and Jake have a very good relationship.
I think he would much rather speed get the result than ERT. I think most people, frankly, would.
He would.
I think a lot of people. Yeah, I think a lot of people in this league. Oh, look at that! He's going to go through Arnold. Forget all the. Oh no, he's lost the rear end, but he's still got the grip. Where has Arnold found this from? I know he pitted a lap later, but it was just 1 lap. Is 1 lap really making that much of a difference? Apparently so, because Arnold is in the box seat here if he can just stay within DRS.
Wow. Very, very, very fast driver. right there.
Look out for Jake as well. I don't think Jake's going to appreciate that move at all. He's going to want involved. This could be 3 wide on the back straight. This is going to be exciting. Look out for this. And Jake is going for it. Jake's going for it. I think Arnold's going to realise it. This is going to be mad. Look at this. Nearly off the track there goes Jake. And a bit of weaving going on. This is where Arnold lost the championship in Season 4. He's down the inside of Ben Shaw and into the lead today. What's Jake going to do? Does he fancy passing? I don't think so, but he's looking. He's got the penalty, remember, but he's not made it work. And Arnold, crucial that he keeps this now, because it keeps all 4 ERT drivers in that top 4. It keeps them there. And it will also be his second win of the season. And what about Khalifa? What can he do? He's now on the back of Jake. Is Ben starting to run out of pace? Kieran's gained about 2 seconds on this group on this current lap. If he keeps at that pace, he might well be able to nick a podium or something at the end, because this lot, I don't think they're done fighting yet.
You know it.
So then, 2 to go. Only 12 drivers in it. You wouldn't think so. They've given us some brilliant entertainment, so respect where respect is due. They've done the job in the end. We got through that really odd start of the race where it was so wet that you couldn't do anything on either tyre, and now we're getting our grandstand finish. Arnold, 6/10 clear. I mean, if Ben gets a good exit here at the hairpin, he might have a chance. Let's have a look.
Oh, he will.
We'll ride on board. No, doesn't get a good exit. Doesn't get a good exit. Might be a blessing in disguise. Means he might have to go for it on the last lap. Means he doesn't have to use ZRS on this lap.
Here.
Kieran's gained a
all over
second
again, isn't it?
so far, by the way. Kieran's gained a second on this lap at the minute. He might just be in there. If these two at the front go side by side, he might have a chance to nick something.
Kieran can see him as well, and look at that. That's right in front of his face. He's closing.
I think it was a 34.2 that Kieran set on the last lap, which is the fastest of the race.
That's
that
half a
is,
second in 2 corners.
Yeah, and he's half a second that lap quicker than Arnold's at the minute, and everyone else in the 35. So that gives you an idea of how quick Kieran is right now.
Well, Owen, you never guess what. We're in round 15 at Texas, and it's 1 to go as Arnold leads us onto the final lap. Take it away.
It feels almost as climactic as a Championship 5, this, because
It does.
the ERT drivers know they've got to lock out that front 4. There's a chance in the next race, if everything lines up perfectly, that you could see 5 ERT drivers get through. They want to make sure they have this championship sealed before they get in. Then it doesn't matter who wins it, as NK Bourne loses it at the last corner again. That'll help possibly Castor pick up an extra point. The gap, half a second. And the ERS levels, twice as much for Ben Shaw. This is looking promising. Let's see if he can make it work. How's the exit? It's good. It is good. I think he's got enough. He's got enough. Surely he's got enough. Oh, what do you do, Arnold? He's going to go to the inside. Ben Shaw's going to go to the outside. They nearly come together. But look at that. Ben Shaw's through. Arnold, he should have dived him. But he might have a chance on the exit. The thing is, you've got to dive him. It's the last lap. You can't let him take one of your drivers out. Khalifa's going to drop out, I think. Ben will cover it, surely. Oh, look at that. Arnold's gone off. He's gone and let Jake through. That's really going to confirm it. What do you do now if you're ART? You're going to have to sit there and do nothing. And it looks like Ben Shaw has done enough. Unless Jake does something really stupid into the last corner, but I'd be very surprised if he did. Khalifa picks up a penalty. That's going to cost him.
He's found a friend, as Ben Shaw.
He has. Ben Shaw crosses the line. This is going to put Kieran on the podium as well. So it's Ben from Arnold, from Kieran, the top 3. From a speed perspective, that's almost as perfect as it could have went. Arnold, he just didn't have enough in the end. If I'm him, you've seen me do it in Season 8. You throw it up the inside and you take the consequences. You've got to protect your team. I don't think they have their ERT at all today. They've invited Ben Shaw, our reigning champion, the first driver into the Championship 5. Kieran, who was only 15 points off being in, has finished 3rd. okay, he's lost points to Arnold, he's gained some on Khalifa, but they're all gaining on Casper, and they're all gaining on Corey. And suddenly, a playoff campaign that was looking pretty formulaic coming into this race is all up for grabs. All these positions are now at risk, apart from our reigning champion, and that's why he's the champion. He gets it done when he needs it done. He has not had pace this season. I think he'd admit that himself. But it's now 2 wins out of the last 3 races, and Ben Shaw has arrived in season 9.
I couldn't put it better myself, other than "pass me the sun cream" is the exact words from your race winner Ben Shaw immediately in the chat. I think the next thing he needs to do is to go and thank Jake O'Sullivan, because I talk about it all the time. Your friends are where you find them, and Ben Shaw found a friend in the form of Jake, and he held on. He held Khalifa off and did enough, and Arnaud as well, and that's why Ben Shaw finds himself going back to defend his title in Qatar in 2 weeks' time. Another clutch victory. He was minus 27 coming into tonight. He is now Championship 5 bound. A 13th win for Ben Shaw. He loves it here. He loves it at Texas. Now he's got to go and practice for Qatar.
So he wins here. Arnaud from 80th on the grid. It's still a good race in second, but he needed that win. Kieran, good recovery after he got the tyres run on that second, third restart. Jake 4th, Khalifa 5th, Leroy 6th, Way 7th, Ben Harrett in 8th. We got Pete 9th and Yuri 10th. So that's 2 places there gained over Yuri today for Ben Harrett. That puts him in a slightly more comfortable position for the last round of the playoffs. I didn't get the rest of the order. I was too busy letting you talk, to be honest. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, most of the field were out of the race. We could probably, what was it, MK Bourne and Casper, I think. So, or maybe Casper and MK Bourne. It's one of those. It was some way round. So that is where we leave it for Texas. Obviously, we don't know where we are next week, but we do know where we are for the Championship 5. That will be in Qatar. So Ben Shaw, for the first time this season, he can get his sweat on. And you could argue he's been struggling with the fact he hasn't been able to practice. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, imagine being one of 2 people in that position. It must be a great feeling.
Moving on.
Owen's making no comment. He's not buying into the fact that I'm also a race winner.
I know, but you've got to... my problem is, I know you're not going to win the Championship 5. I saw what happened. I saw Miami. It don't happen for you. I just don't see it. Unless you get a miracle again. Unless you get half the league forgetting the rules. I just don't know. We'll wait and see.
Well, yeah, never mind. Anyway, the Kia Series returns next week to some track. I don't know. I don't have to practice for it. Then the Cup Series is back for round 16. I can't tell you where it is, but I do know it'll be a good one.
I know as well. I'm excited.
The Kia Series Championship 5 from Monza, followed by build-up on the Thursday, and then the race in Qatar. We've got an exciting 2 weeks in store. It's a Jacko and Ben Shaw sweep the week in terms of wins in JACKOCAR. Owen Wyatt will lead us out. Thank you very much for watching.
Some would call that corruption, really. Jacko and Ben winning in the same week. The brains behind his Championship 5 show. Maybe they've had some meetings in Bournemouth, and well, that's all I'm going to say. We will be back next week, as Jacko says. Thank you for watching, as always, and look, I'm an ART man. You know it. Everyone knows it, but even I'm excited for next week. This is all up in the air. We're going to have to see 5 out of the 6 playoff drivers really going for it, because any one of those 5 could drop out now. It's set up perfectly. The chase is set up brilliantly as well. Ben Harrett versus Yuri, possibly even with a little bit of risky, and possibly even some Jordan Lane. Anything can happen. You'll be here next week. Safe travels.